Ever notice how some men leave such a strong impact on a woman that she remembers them for years, even long after the relationship ends? That's what we're exploring today. There's a specific kind of man that a woman just can't forget. And no, it's not about buying gifts, sweet talking, or flashy gestures. It's about presence. A presence that leaves a mark, not because he chased her, but because he moved differently than most. Welcome back to the channel where we get real about the deep, often uncomfortable truths behind attraction and relationships. Today's topic isn't sugar-coated. It's raw and brutally honest. So if you're searching for how to be the nice guy she likes, this video isn't for you. But if you want to understand what it really takes to be unforgettable in a woman's life, stay locked in. Here's the truth. Most men are trained to think that pleasing a woman means showering her with validation and sacrificing their own self-worth. But that kind of man, easily forgotten. She moves on like he never existed. Why? Because women don't long for men who idolize them. They're drawn to men who challenge them, who stir something deeper. Emotional, intellectual, spiritual. In this video, I'll break down 5 traits that make a man unforgettable, even if the relationship ends. Whether she admits it or not, she'll remember you if you do these. Let's dive in. 1. He doesn't chase her. Here's one of the biggest misconceptions men fall for. The idea that pursuing a woman harder will make her want you more. It's not just wrong, it's destructive. The more you chase, the more you kill her curiosity. When a woman senses you're overly available, overly eager, she stops valuing your presence. You don't look confident, you look replaceable. Chasing shifts the dynamic. It says, you're the prize, and I hope I'm good enough. That mindset kills attraction fast. Women aren't wired to crave the guy who runs after them. They crave the man who stands firm, who values himself enough not to run. Now, don't mistake not chasing for being cold or emotionally unavailable. This isn't about playing hard to get. It's about having standards. A high-value man doesn't force connection. If she's interested, she'll show it. If not, he moves forward with his life. That's power. That's self-respect. And that's what draws women in. Why? Because mystery and scarcity are powerful. When you're not constantly available, when you don't fall into the same rhythm every guy does, she starts to wonder, why isn't he trying harder? That curiosity builds attraction. Think about it. A confident man meets a woman, there's chemistry, but instead of chasing, he continues focusing on his mission, his purpose. He gives her space to show interest. That simple act shifts everything. She starts investing, she starts chasing. Because deep down, she realizes, this man isn't like the rest. That's how you make her remember you. 2. He walks away without fear. Most guys lose their power in relationships because they're terrified of losing the woman. That fear eats away at their confidence. They think if they don't hold on tight, she'll leave. And that desperation is something women can sense instantly. But here's the truth. The man who can walk away at any moment is the man who commands the most respect. Walking away doesn't mean you're cold or heartless. It means you value your peace and self-respect more than staying in a situation that's draining you. A man who isn't scared to walk away isn't emotionally dependent. If she disrespects him, plays games, or starts creating chaos, he doesn't beg, argue, or try to fix what isn't his to fix. He steps back with dignity. That kind of emotional strength hits different. It shows he's grounded, independent, and not afraid of being alone. Women respect men who don't cling. Why? Because it proves he's not desperate. He's choosing her, not needing her. That's rare. When a woman knows you're not afraid to leave, she starts thinking twice before testing your boundaries. She realizes she can't manipulate or control you, and that creates a deep emotional impact. The men women remember most are the ones who didn't grovel, didn't chase, and didn't fold. They held their ground and walked away when they weren't valued. That leaves a permanent mark because she never got to see him crumble, and that strength sticks in her memory for years to come. 3. He controls his emotions. Nothing kills a woman's respect for a man faster than emotional instability. Many guys think being open about every feeling, overreacting to small things, or constantly seeking reassurance shows that they care. In reality, it screams insecurity. Women are biologically wired to look for emotional strength in a man, someone who remains calm and steady when things get chaotic. A man who has control over his emotions doesn't let her mood swings or games dictate his response. He doesn't get rattled by silence or guilt, tripped into arguments. He can feel disappointment, frustration, or confusion, but he doesn't let those feelings control his behavior. That kind of discipline, it's magnetic. She may try to test him, go cold, push his buttons, or act distant just to see how he reacts. Most men fold. They become needy, defensive, or emotionally reactive. But the man who stays composed, who doesn't beg for attention or lash out, becomes unforgettable. He shows her he's emotionally grounded. He can handle her storms without getting swept away. And when a woman feels emotionally safe around you, not because you coddle her, but because you stay calm and centered, she develops a deep respect that turns into lasting attraction. It's not about being emotionless, it's about being in control. That sense of emotional mastery sets you apart from 99% of other men, and it makes you the one she remembers long after you've gone. 4. He never seeks her approval. One of the biggest traps men fall into is craving a woman's approval. They start filtering their words, changing their behavior, and walking on eggshells, all to be seen as likable. But here's the catch. The more you seek validation, the less respect you get. Approval-seeking energy comes off as weak, and women instinctively pull away from it. The men women remember? They don't chase approval. They don't need a woman's agreement to feel confident in who they are. These guys live by their own standards and speak their truth, regardless of whether she agrees. That doesn't mean being rude or dismissive. It means being authentic, even if it creates a little tension. Women constantly test men without even realizing it. They'll challenge your ideas, question your choices, or poke fun at you just to see if you'll waver. Most men buckle. They backpedal, explain themselves endlessly, or change their minds to avoid friction. But the man who holds firm, who can handle disagreement without becoming defensive, gains her respect. He sends a clear message. I like you, but I don't need you to validate who I am. That kind of quiet confidence is rare and incredibly attractive. It flips the script. Instead of you trying to win her over, she finds herself trying to win yours. That reversal of energy is unforgettable. A man who never needed her approval is the one she can't forget, because he stood tall when everyone else bent. 5. He makes her earn his attention. Most men are way too generous with their attention. They meet a woman they're into and immediately shower her with compliments, messages, and time. But the truth is, attention given too freely loses its value fast. When a man gives his time without requiring any effort in return, he becomes forgettable, just another guy trying too hard. The man who stands out? He makes a woman earn his attention, not as a game, but because he values himself. He doesn't drop everything to reply to a text. He doesn't cancel his plans to meet up on a whim. His life has purpose, structure, and goals, and she has to work to become a part of it. This doesn't mean being dismissive or playing hard to get. It means you're selective. You treat your time and energy like the valuable currency it is. You don't flood her with validation. You give it in small doses when it's deserved, which makes it more meaningful. As a result, she starts chasing. She wants to know what makes you tick. She tries harder to impress you because your attention isn't guaranteed. It has to be earned. That creates desire. It creates emotional investment. And it leaves a mark. Women don't forget the man who didn't hand himself over on a silver platter. They remember the one who had standards, self-respect, and made them work for his presence. Because that's not just attractive, that's rare. 6. He maintains mystery. Mystery is one of the most powerful tools in attraction, but it's something most men throw away too quickly. They think oversharing builds trust, so they dump their entire life story on a woman within the first few conversations. What they don't realize is that overexposure kills curiosity, and without curiosity, attraction fades fast. The man who keeps a little mystery about him stands out. He doesn't overshare his emotions, his past, or his plans. He reveals just enough to intrigue her, but never everything. This leaves her wondering, what's he thinking? What's his story? That mental engagement creates emotional tension, and tension is what fuels long-term desire. It's not about playing games or hiding things, it's about pacing. Let her earn your layers. Let her discover who you are slowly, over time. When you hold back a little, when you don't rush to fill every silence, you create space for her to chase. Not because you're distant, but because you're deep. Most men spill too much too fast. They talk about all their past relationships, insecurities, and drama in an effort to connect. But instead of bonding, it makes them seem emotionally chaotic. A man with mystery, however, comes across as in control. He makes her want to learn more, because he's not broadcasting his soul for free. And that kind of man, he lingers in a woman's mind. Long after the relationship is over, she'll still wonder about him, because she never fully figured him out. So now you know why some men are unforgettable. It's not about looks. It's not about money. It's about energy, how a man carries himself, how he controls his emotions, and how he sets the tone instead of reacting to it. These traits aren't loud. They don't beg for attention, but they command it. If you've ever wondered why she can't seem to move on from him, it's because he embodied qualities most men never master. He didn't chase. He didn't need her validation. He didn't hand himself over like a free sample. He stood in his masculine frame, centered, composed, and mysterious. That energy, strong, grounded, rare, is addictive. It stays with her long after the messages stop and the dates are over. Now the question is, are you becoming that man? Every interaction with a woman is a mirror. She reflects back what you project. If you bring neediness, she loses interest. But if you bring strength, mystery, and emotional control, she leans in. She remembers. You don't have to chase. You don't have to beg. Just become a man who respects himself so deeply, it forces the world to respect him too. If you found value in this, don't just watch. Apply. Subscribe to the channel, join the brotherhood, and let's keep building that inner power, one decision at a time. Because real attraction isn't something you force, it's something you become. And when you do, she'll never forget you.